Hi, Andy. I am on top of the rock wall here. It's beautiful, but it's quite the climb. So I'm coming down now. Whee! What a fun weekend. Almost to the top. Again. I think I'm gonna come down. Whew. Hi, Andy. So those two videos that you just watched were me climbing the rock wall at camp that are actually going to turn out to be a pretty good metaphor for what I want to talk about today. And just so those of you who are watching know, I am getting kind of deep today, talking about some mental health stuff. So be prepared, be forewarned. Okay? Okay. So I've talked on these videos before about how sometimes I just feel like I'm living my life at like 90 miles an hour and I just cannot slow down, like not for the life of me. And there have been times in my life that have been the exact opposite of that, where I feel like an immovable object and I'm not going to be able to get out of whatever slump that I'm in. I just wanted to talk about how I really struggle with highs and lows in my life, or rises and falls. There will be days when I am just on top of the world and I have so much hope and love and joy and it's just all spilling out of me, and it's just everything around me just feels like light and happiness, and it's really amazing for me to be able to just show off these wonderful pieces of myself that I get to just be so excited about. And those days are most days. So my students will probably tell you that I am like rainbows and sunshine all the time. Although one of them did compare me to Joy from Inside Out, and I thought that that was a pretty great comparison. But for all the really, really awesome rises, all the really, really awesome highs that I've had in my life, there have been some really low lows. And Andy, you know, like a bit of my story that I'm not going to share here, but you know that when the lows for me happen, they hit hard. And it's just been a really interesting thing to observe in myself over the past year. Actually, the past several years, because since I've started keeping track of this in my notebooks or like in my writing, it's just been interesting to map out where those highs and lows are. And it's interesting too for me because like whether I'm experiencing a high or a low right now, it's a bit of an anomaly. So for me, my really low points in the year tend to be January, April, and August. For whatever reason, those 3 months, especially the beginning parts of those 3 months, have always been so hard for me. Like, I think the August one makes a lot of sense because I'm leaving camp and I'm leaving home, but the January and the April ones never made a lot of sense to me. So, I mean, to call it what you will, but that was my oven preheating. I'm not going to retake this shot. And opposite of my really low months, I have some months of the year that are just always very high for me. Like things that are exciting or new or interesting or fabulous are always happening during those months. So those months for me are May, June, September, and December. Those months of the year are just the kinds of months where, for me, it just seems like the world is going to be okay and everything's going to be all right. And it's more than that. It's where I see hope for humanity. It's when I feel the most productive in my own life. And so now the reason why I'm bringing this all up today, it's October, which is usually one of my in-between months. It's not usually very high and it's not usually very low. It's just kind of a steady month for me. And this year, it has not been that way. This year, my October has felt a lot like my August. And my September was this way too, and it's just everything is getting harder and harder, and whether that's because I've spent over 30 hours on the phone with AT&T phone company trying to get them to, like, stop billing me because I'm not receiving services from them anymore, or whether it's because I've just been so overwhelmed with work, with the special ed stuff and the gen ed stuff and the robotics stuff and the behavior stuff, or if it's other reasons, like, I have no idea. But for me, like, it's been hard. So I don't know if my videos have been really downer lately, or I feel as though the last 6 or 7 videos I've made have been really serious kind of videos, but maybe this is why. And this is good for me too, to be thinking about these kinds of things, because it helps me to understand, like, who I am and the way that my brain works in the world. I've always known that my brain's just a little bit different, and this is really helpful for me to be able to figure out why and what to do about it. So for now, I am going to keep writing. I'm going to keep tracking my days in my notebook. I'm going to keep talking to you. I'm going to keep calling my friend Emily, who has just been the biggest support of my entire life. She's also a teacher, and it's just having somebody to talk to about these things is just so good. And I'm just going to keep on keeping on. And no matter how much this starts to feel like April 2016, it's not going to get there again. I love you, Andy. Thank you so much for listening to my random rants about my mental stability at the moment. And I will see you on Thursday.